And it's a Thursday, the 25th of February 2021, and this is the Morning Express right here on Starsat channel 500, and also on Facebook. We are Galaxy Universal Network, live in Johannesburg from our mid-run studios. Good morning, South Africa and everyone on the African continent. I am CHIMIMBE, and on that note, let us take a look at our 60 minutes rundown of today's headlines and news. And we obviously take a look at such a strike, arrest clashes and outrage that happened outside Parliament yesterday during Tito Mbowene's financial address that he was giving yesterday. Obviously the budget speech, and certainly take a look at Cele visits relatives for massacred within the family of KwaZulu-Natal. That is also the story that we are covering this morning, and obviously the SIU probing for Dr. Mkhize's close assets. And those are the stories right here on the Morning Express. We obviously talk to a young man by the name of Andrew Jr., who is part of an initiative by the name of Dr. Africa Health Initiative. So they are obviously pioneering throughout the African continent, making sure that all things relating to health are really a necessity to those vulnerable communities and those that are marginalized throughout our continent. But certainly interact with us on our various social media platforms. On Twitter, we are gun_TV_, and on Facebook, we are Galaxy Universal Network. As we take a look at our leading story this morning. 2 people were taken into custody during the South African Federation of Trade Unions, its march to Parliament. And SAFTU members were marching to Parliament on Wednesday ahead of the Finance Minister Tito Mbowene's budget speech. However, the situation turned tense, with police trying to disperse them and earlier lobbing stun grenades at the protesters.
How do you feel about what just happened?
No, absolutely not happy. It was absolutely unnecessary. There is absolutely no reason to use that kind of force. Our provincial secretary that they just threw unceremoniously into the police vehicle. We had just suffered a stroke recently and we asked them to release them. There was absolutely no law that was broken. I was part of that scuffle with the police officers and they attacked us first. They have been shown from the beginning they have not been interested in resolving the standoff peacefully. That has never been their intention. So we are clearly we are not going to leave this like that. We are going to demand that the action is to be taken against these police officers. It's a complete opposite compared to what they did with the protesters in the Free State. Also what they did with the protesters when they were protesting on the Museum Beach, and they were in clear violation of the Disaster Management Act. We are less than 50 people here, but we have merely insisted on that it is our right to proceed peacefully in a motorbike towards Parliament, and that our rights have been violated.
Where are you going to now?
We are going to reconvene because we need to discuss how we are going to proceed. Obviously, we are not just going to leave us like that unchallenged. That is absolutely not what is going to happen.
How are you feeling right now?
And SAFTU General Secretary Andre Adams spoke to Eyewitness News before he was arrested that the march to Parliament was on the basis for all the inequalities that people are facing within the workplace and the subsequent failure to government to address them.
We must talk. White people were talking there. White people were talking there. You did nothing. White people were talking, all of them. What did you do? We are going to Parliament. So you were there, you were the police, you were there. We are moving from here. Because we are black, we are trying to say something else. We are going there. You must meet us, we are going there. But you did not do the same at the beach when white people were talking there. Breaking the regulation. What did you do at the beach? What did you do at the beach? We are going to Parliament today. Stop us. Look, hit us. Because we are here to victimize black people. We are going to Parliament. We will march. We will march. There's no gathering here. We are going to Parliament. We are marching to Parliament. We are marching to Parliament. Yes. Well, the same gathering act is not being applied in Jacob Zuma's home. Yes. Where you've got people who are calling themselves military veterans and standing every day out
outside there.
Western Cape.
The Western Cape government show its own colours.
Yeah.
That is a racist government.
Yes.
It's a DA-led government.
It's been
They are now working together with the ANC.
Yes.
Because since 1994 we've been saying the ANC and the DA are the mini of the same bag.
Yes.
They are all for capitalism. They are all for rich people. They are not for the working class and the poor.
And protesters made their way to the Grand Parade to continue the demonstrations.
I'm from Housing Assembly. That like to know equal education, able to science course students. Comrades, we have spent and served to comrades. We have met guys, but they just understand. We have two requests from the police, from the government, that we want a release of those comrades arrested, and also we want to stand. So comrades, that is the decision that our engagement. We want to request the release of the comrades, and also we want to be given the opportunity to address our issues in front of Parliament.
And Police Minister Decoder on Wednesday met with the Eshoweni family whose relatives were shot dead in their home on Saturday. And the victims have been identified as elderly couple Octavia and Christopher Khumalo, 37 years old, Mbali Khumalo, 17 years old, and Snotile Hlongwane and Tando Khumalo and Anotando Skampu, who are both 8 years old. And the suspect, a relative, Stembiso Mtimkulu, who appeared in court yesterday morning, was arrested in Greytown on Monday, and Tele confirmed that during his visit that they had listened to the brother of the deceased who lived in the house together with the wife and grandkids. And Tele is also expected to visit the family of the two police officers who were killed and ambushed at the tailors held at the past weekend. And meanwhile, at the last Friday afternoon, Police Minister Decoder released the country's crime statistics, and according to the latest figures, a 6.6% increase in the murder rate was recorded during the third quarter of the 2020-2021 financial year in the country.
On this one, National Commissioner leading the national management and all provincial management, if we are to win against this, SEPs must go back to the drawing board and work with speed. We will also, in the coming days, meet with the CEOs of the cash in transit industry and work closely with this community of this work. As I conclude, in spite of the bleak situation and also being in the midst of the pandemic, we must and we will do more to turn this crime picture around. On that score, thanking the members of the South African Police for being there even under these trying conditions. I remain concerned about the Mpumalanga, KwaZulu-Natal, Free State, and the Western Cape provinces, which these states show are regressing in their fight against crime. Meanwhile, some of the provinces have shown a significant improvement in this regard, led by the Eastern Cape, which has done very well.
And the Special Investigating Unit on Wednesday confirmed it was investigating allegations that Health Minister Dr. Zweli Mkhize close associates benefited from COVID-19 tenders issued by the Department of Health valued at more than 82 million rand. And the SIU told Eyewitness News on Wednesday that the complaint was recently lodged anonymously. And the Daily Maverick on a Tuesday night reported that a small KwaZulu-Natal communications company called Digital Vibes was awarded an 82 million rand contract by the department for COVID-19 projects. And Digital Vibes does not have a big history or a footprint in the communications sector. The company used Mkhize's long-serving personal assistants, as well as another close associate within the party as paid consultants. And also Digital Vibes was also awarded a contract from the Cooperative Governance Department during Mkhize's short stints as minister within the portfolio. And the SIU said that the damning claims for the tender irregularities at the National Department of Health had also caught its attention. And the spokesperson, Kaiza Khanyago, said that it was recently made aware of the claims that was preparing to look into them. And President Cyril Ramaphosa signed a proclamation allowing the SIU to probe any allegations relating to the issue of misconduct of any COVID-19 funds from last year. And Khanyago said that this meant that the investigation unit would be able to directly delve into all allegations that have been brought forward. And the NC Treasurer General Paul Mashatile says that any party leadership will await word from Health Minister Dr. Zweli Mkhize on reports that the SIU is investigating a complaint of corruption against him and his personal assistants within what had happened with the tender PPE scandal and misconduct of money that was used at 82 million rand.
Yup.
20 seconds to the spot on the right hand side. I'm warning you, I'm going to use a water cannon against you.
And also taking a look at what is currently happening within the development results in the use of water cannons against vulnerable grant recipients considered within the visit of the Minister of Social Development, Lindiwe Zulu. And Minister Fritz wrote to the regional head on the 11th of February requesting the investigations into the SASSA POP's deployment to SASSA's Belleville offices and received a response which included a reference contract. And also still moving on with the story, the Independent Police Investigating Directorate confirmed that it was investigating the conduct of the police officers who had used water cannons to disperse people queuing for SASSA grants in Cape Town. And Njanya Police had been monitoring the queues, which were allegedly caused by a decision not to renew the temporary disability grants, meaning that beneficiaries had to reapply, which also entitled a new medical assistance.
Some of them are in crashes and they are there. They are looking on their life, that their life is on this. So we should have been really very situational and work together with whoever was there to make sure that the issue here was social distancing. That social distancing didn't need the approach we used. The approach we used was the approach for the people that are rioting to use. Yes, we did not use tank grenade, but we used water cannon. Those are people that are rioting. So we should not have really done that. And then you find people that are going there for leisure.
And News 24 reported that many had slept on the pavement as the Western Cape bore and the brunt of the reapplication process, with over 53,000 of the more than 200,000 applicants needed to be reapplied. And community halls had also been closed because of COVID-19, which also meant that people could not go to the nearby satellite offices. And this resulted in long queues and the lack of physical distancing as mandatory by COVID-19 protocols that were officially what we should all be applying when we are out in large groups.
It was when I was inside the offices of Starsat that I realized that the police were spraying. This very Lindiwe Zulu, asked the police to stop what they were doing because I didn't think it was a good thing for them to do. So I'm clarifying publicly that this Lindiwe Zulu can never, ever ask the police to spray the people, worst of all, people with vulnerability.
And yesterday, government announced that it was allocating more than half of the country's 2 trillion spending budget for the year to social services. And culture and learning remains the largest spending area at over 402.9 billion rand, with a bulk of the allocation earmarked for salaries.
This is our first reason for hope. The fiscal framework we table today entails the following. The main budget revenue is projected to be 1.35 trillion rand, or 25.3% as a share of gross domestic product in 2021. This rises to 1.52 trillion rand in the outer year being 2023-24 of the medium-term expenditure framework. When we were writing these numbers, Mr. President, 1.52 trillion, I was tempted to ask one member of the House how many zeros are in a trillion, but I thought not to do that. At the same time, non-interest spending will remain steady at approximately 1.56 trillion rand over the next 3 years, but will decline as a share of GDP from 29.2% in 2021-22 to 26.2% of GDP in 23-24. I requested tips from the public to help in crafting this budget. Many tips spoke about the limits to increased taxation. Others spoke about the need.
And this is followed by health, which stands at 248.8 billion rand, in a slight increase from the 230 billion last year. And government said the decision to spend 987.1 billion rand, or 56.8% of the allocations of this year's budget, in line with its pro-poor policies.
Government is committed to a 791.2 billion rand in infrastructure investment. We are already partnering with the private sector and other players to roll out infrastructure through initiatives such as the blended finance system.
And also, Treasury has also earmarked more than 28 billion rand in the next 3 years and standalone conditional grants to provinces and municipalities that will allow them to upgrade informal settlements. And this forms a part of the proposed changes to the structures of conditional grants, which Treasury said was meant to align with evolving policies objectives. And the social services allocations, however, also reveals some reductions, of which include health spending, or just over 50 billion rand, which will rather be cut in the next 3 years. And there will be largely affected salaries over time, and variations of units will cost in HIV programs.
Madam Speaker, I must advise this House that we now expect to collect 1.21 trillion rand in taxes during 2020-21, which is about 213 billion rand less than our 2020 budget expectations. This is the largest tax shortfall on record. In 21-22, government expects to collect 1.37 trillion, provided our underlying assumptions on the performance of the economy and the tax base hold.
And meanwhile, in education, Treasury raised some serious concerns with the running of the National Student Financial Aid Scheme, which is believed will require a review of student employment, enrollment growth and bursary allowance due to a slower growth in subsidies and grants. And for those who rely on social grants to get by, the increases will not even keep them up, with inflations. And Treasury documents revealed the social grants budget will be will rather be reduced by 2.2% over the next 3 years, which will decrease this year by totaling 5.8 billion rand.
We have cumulatively made 83.2 billion available for the public employment program since the 2020 special adjustment budget. We are now augmenting this by 11 billion rand for the Presidential Youth Employment Initiative, taking the total funding for employment creation to nearly 100 billion. When the president spoke about 100 billion, people said the president was dreaming, but it was a good dream because it's being realized now. The key issue.
And all grants have been hiked by less than the cost of inflation, which the highest increase in real value was seen at the old age grants. And they go up by 30 rand a month from 1,860 to 1,890. And with those over the age of 75 getting 1,910 rand a month. And foster care grants increased received the smallest increase, a mere 10 rand a month bump. And MBELE explained the social development has been allocated 335.3 billion rand. Over 18 million South Africans are beneficiaries of social grant systems, with Treasury saying that it is expected 300,000 more people to be added on the system in the next 3 years.
To becoming a winning country. Since then, we have mourned the passing of nearly 50,000 of our fellow South Africans as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. The damage visited upon us by COVID-19 runs deep, and we share in the collective pain of many South Africans who have lost their jobs. All of this notwithstanding, Madam Speaker, we are not without hope. Our national icon, the Nobel laureate Archbishop Desmond Tutu, reminded us that, and I quote, "Hope is being able to see that there is light despite all of the darkness," unquote. He observed that sometimes we forget that just beyond the clouds, the sun is shining. The brave and fearless sacrifices of our frontline workers continue to save thousands of lives. We salute all our health care and essential service workers who remain standing at the front line of our struggle against COVID-19.
And according to MBELE, government is allocating more than 10 billion rand for the purchase and delivery of vaccines over the next 2 years.
With this framework, we provide the budget for South Africa's vaccination campaign. This campaign allows us to emerge from the restrictions that we have experienced to economic activity. So the restrictions were meant to help us fight against COVID. And now, as we gradually fight this, introducing vaccines, we should be able to return in time to full economic activity. We are allocating more than 10 billion rand for the purchase and delivery of vaccines over the next 2 years.
And also on fuel levies, the minister said that this will increase by 27 cents per litre, comprising of 15 rand per litre on the general fuel levy, amongst many others.
Fuel levies will be increased by 27 cents per litre, comprising 15 cents per litre for the general fuel levy and 11 cents per litre for the road accident fund levy, and 1 cent per litre for the carbon fuel levy. This is important to emphasize because we're moving towards a carbon-free environment, and we have recently established the Presidential Coordinating Committee on Climate Change.
And the minister also announced an 8% increase in the the excess duties of alcohol and tobacco products.
Fourthly, an 8% increase in excise duties on alcohol and tobacco products. From today, with immediate effect. With immediate effect. A 340 milliliter can of beer or cider will cost an extra 14 cents. B, a 750 milliliter bottle of wine will cost an extra 26 cents with immediate effect. C, a 750 milliliter bottle of sparkling wine, an extra 86 cents. Next, a bottle of 750 milliliter spirits, including whiskey, gin or vodka, will increase by 5.50 rand. Next, a packet of 20 cigarettes will be an extra 1.39 rand. Next, 25 grams of piped tobacco will cost an extra 47 cents. I'm sorry, one retired president, I'm sorry. And a 23-gram cigar will be 7.71 rand more expensive.
And certainly at this time, I get to be joined by a special feature for the day right here on the Morning Express. And I am talking to Dr. Africa Health Initiative. And that is a program that is leading initiatives within the African public health arena. And this was established in April 2020 on a brick of helping Africa towards health issues. And obviously, the Dr. Health Initiative is also playing a significant role in the evaluation of the new central health systems within implementations, and the health promotion strategic framework of the entire initiative is committed to to protect and promote the health of the African population. And at this point, I get to be joined by the man of the moment, Andrew Jr. Chimwande. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Quite a pleasure. I mean, you're a young man that is doing incredible work with the Dr. Africa Health Initiative. Take me through that. I mean, I've just given them a quick background on what you do. I mean, it is all health related within the African continent. Take me through that.
Beautiful. Dr. Africa Health Initiative is a very powerful program that is covering the gap of the disintegrated communities of Africa.
Yes.
We see that there is a big problem in terms of the health as far as Africa is concerned. So as the Dr. Africa Health Initiative, we actually saw that there is a need for us to intervene in a special way to bring health and restore lives with this initiative.
I mean, with everything that you do, what really gave birth to the initiative? I mean, it is Dr. Africa Health Initiative. Was it COVID-19, looking at the pandemic on its own and looking at how we've been able to respond as Africans to the pandemic?
Yeah, that's so beautiful, sir, because looking at how we responded to the pandemic, we actually saw that our health sector as a continent is not that vibrant to actually accommodate such types of pandemic. So what we just did is this: we saw that it is very, very important to come up with this initiative to strengthen our health sectors in every country, in every African country.
Yes.
So we can even see that the pandemic showed us that as an African country, we are never ready for such a thing in terms of our health sector.
Yes.
So as a Dr. Africa Health Initiative, we come up, we provide healthy solutions to communities, and also we are advocating to come up with our own medical research as Africa. We can see that there is WHO there, they are coming up with their own medical experts, coming up with the vaccines and everything, which is done there in the Western countries. But what is Africa doing? So we also have to amass such type of expertise to come up with our own vaccine. We can possibly do it. We can do it.
Certainly, and we are really speaking today about everything to do with Dr. Africa Health Initiative, really about the health sector within the African continent. Yes. And that on its own is very important in the greatest sense. But as a young man in South Africa, with those graduates in universities at this point, what does the initiative give hope to them in terms of really making sure that there is a space for them to coexist, to make sure they also get part of the initiative, and to really give a helping hand within the projects that you have lined up already?
No, that's beautiful. I always define success as meeting a need. All right, you spot a need, then you meet it.
Yes.
That's success. So as the Dr. Health Initiative, we're actually accommodating young people, especially those the recently graduated doctors to come in, because there are a lot of financial groups who are interested to fund us. We send some of the doctors maybe to Angola, where there is Ebola. We send some of the doctors to Zimbabwe, where they are having a lot of health challenges in different communities. Some of them we can send them to Kenya, where they are having Jigger problems. That fluke that can bite a kid, then it develops larva. The whole hand is full of the eggs of that fluke. So we are looking forward to accommodate a lot of young professionals.
Certainly.
As far as the health sector is concerned, and I tell you, Africa is about to experience something else.
Certainly, I must agree with you that, I mean, with the Dr. Africa Health Initiative that you have going on, what is the dream for it in the next 5-10 years? I mean, looking at the expansion, at the growth that it will have for the African continent, for the people of the African continent, and those that are sick, those that are vulnerable, those that are marginalized within our sectors, to actually access healthcare within our own African continent. What is the dream?
Okay, thank you, sir. I think because right now we're actually operating in Zimbabwe, we're operating in South Africa, we're operating in Tanzania, we're operating in Zambia, we're operating in South Sudan. So by the end of this August, we are working with the Global Youth Leaders Forum Volunteers Network. So by the end of this August, we must have covered the whole Southern Africa. Every country must have a representative that is actually carrying out the health initiative. By 2024, our vision is to cover the whole of Africa. Was to cover the whole of Africa.
Certainly, I mean, by covering the entire of the African continent, and every country within the continent on its own is a big milestone. We must congratulate you on that. But certainly we are running out of time, but give us the gist and the details of what you are running with Cancer Month, the awareness that you have now, your aims, what is it that you stand by, your pillars of the entire initiative?
Oh, thank you so much. So currently we're at the phase of implementation, whereby we are having a cervical cancer awareness. What is cervical cancer? What causes cervical cancer? How can it be transmitted? What are the signs and symptoms? How can it be prevented? How can it be treated? And what are the complications? So with this cancer awareness, we have partnered with Cancer Association of South Africa, which is cancer, and we are really doing a great job. We are visiting communities. So what we've managed to do is that we've printed flyers, brochures with local languages, so that those who are experiencing such symptoms can can directly contact the toll-free for SANCA, or they can go to a nearest clinic in their community so that they can get screened, so that they can help before the cancer can develop to another phase whereby it requires a lot of things to be done. So that's what currently we are doing right now.
Certainly, that is a big thing, a beautiful initiative, Dr. Africa Health Initiative. But how can people at home, businesses, companies, people that want to sponsor the initiative get a hold of you and the entire initiative programs within your directorates?
All right, thank you so much. We have got a page on Facebook, Dr. Africa Health Initiative page. Also, we have a website, www.drafrica.healthinitiative.com. There is everything that you need and everything. You get our details, get our contact number, everything there. If you want to get a hold of us, if you want to know what we're doing, if you want to see our profile, everything is there.
Certainly. Well, thank you very much for joining me. It has been a short space of time, but I think the wisdom and knowledge that you came with is certainly not taken for granted. So thank you very much.
I'm very grateful, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Well, South Africa, as we continue with more news and updates right here on the Morning Express, quite a beautiful and interesting conversation to be had around all things with Dr. Africa Health Initiative across every social media platforms. Do engage with them really to understand why young men within the African continent are taking the lead in making sure that all our health facilities are really state of the art. But from the Morning Express desk, we'll be back after this.
Make massive moves.
Picture perfect, you don't need no filter.
Another one.
Jerusalem, ikayalami.
Make massive moves with Starsat. Make massive moves.
Bible is human and divine.
It's important for us to remember.
And I'm part of God's story.
Yeah, mama, mama, hey.
God is healing you.
God says what he means, and he means what he says. God is good.
I am very grateful to God. I am healed.
Amen.
Make massive moves with Starsat. Make massive moves.
The space race has already started.
Russia had got the first object into space.
The coast is as wild today as it was when Europeans settled the continent.
Enormous beasts with enormous thirst. The teams are primed and ready.
They got the first animal into space, and they got the first person.
Time to see what the boys can do.
Make massive moves with Starsat. Make massive moves.
Isn't that your daughter's bib?
But the truth is, I feel like Arabella's always with me.
Don't you ever forget this man's face. He killed your brother.
Don't shoot! Please don't shoot! Don't shoot!
Make massive moves with Starsat.
I want you to eat healthy food because it's delicious.
Make massive moves.
Would you like another one?
I love it.
I love this too. This is amazing. The grits are so creamy. Oh,
I take pride in my grits.
so flavorful.
I think that looks wonderful.
Yeah.
It's so incredible.
Make massive moves with Starsat. Make massive moves.
Wow! Let's go. Come on, we can be back by morning.
Who are you?
I'm the boss.
Really?
Really?
Yeah! Awesome! Totally! Yeehaw!
Very funny.
Make massive moves with Starsat. Make massive moves.
You're the best fighter in China.
Give me the Emperor's sword, and I'll spare your life.
Shisha sector's gone too far.
Make massive moves with Starsat. Make massive moves.
How can you say that?
That is what it is.
Your mother eloped with someone else.
I just think this is such a genius idea. I think it's amazing.
I can be happy. It's inside you. It's inside of all of us.
It's about cooking smart that are nutritious and delicious.
President Trump acknowledging the coronavirus death toll could be significantly higher.
You don't want to do this.
There is nothing you can take.
Jerusalem.
Surviving roommates scared. The heavyweights arrive.
Inside, finds Pachulia, blocked by Jane.
This is the will of God.
Make massive moves with Starsat.
And welcome back right here on the Morning Express. Thank you very much for joining us, and I am still CHIMIMBE. And at this point, we still continue celebrating the class of 2020, our matriculants that had certainly done well for their results. And at this point, I get to talk to Bafedile Maleka, a young lady that scored 6 distinctions within her final examination results. And unfortunately for English, she did expect not to get a distinction in that, and she'll explain why is that. Good morning. Thank you very much for joining me.
Good morning, Mr. Harmony.
Thank you very much. But let us get right into it, Bafedile, in terms of really what happened. How was the start of 2020 for you as a student?
The start of 2020 was okay. In January, it was normal. Nobody knew about COVID-19.
Yes.
Nobody expected that there would be a pandemic. Nobody knew that there would be a lockdown. So it was just excitement everywhere. We were planning on creating new experiences as the matrics, our final year, and so on and so on. So when we heard that there would be a lockdown, it was a total shock, and it was frustrating for all of us because we did not know what to expect. We did not know whether we'd be writing our final exams and so on and so on. So that's where the turning point came in, and it was totally horrible.
Certainly, I must agree with you, but take me through the prayer you had with God, that conversation you had of the 6 distinctions, and even though you understood English might not really be your greatest mark that you might receive, but take me through that conversation that you had.
So I remember the exact moment where our teacher said that, okay, guys, you guys have to now start doing self-study at home and we will finish everything at school. So
yes.
I thought to myself, okay, wow, then that means that I'm all alone. So I remember getting down on my knees and saying, God, I will not let go of the distinctions that I prayed for. I know that I've been praying since grade 11, and I've been telling you that, Father, when I finish my matric year, I want to finish it with a bang. So just because there's a pandemic, I will not lower those standards because, Father, there's nothing that's greater than you. And I specify to God, and I say, God, just at least 6 distinctions. I'm grateful. English, I know, you know what, I don't even need an English distinction. I don't even want it. It can be in a level that makes me qualified to enter varsity, but I don't want the English distinction. But the rest, Father, can I please get a distinction? And it was not once that I made that prayer, but it was a constant prayer that I made. And wow, just to see these results just shows that, wow, God did hear my prayers and he did come through for me.
Certainly, he did really come through for you in terms of your results and the desire, the knowledge that you have to really know to remain faithful in his name. But let us now talk about the plans for 2021. What are the plans? Are you waiting for universities to get back to you? And what do you want to study?
My plans for this year is I'm just waiting for the university to get back to me. I want to study medicine at the University of Witwatersrand.
Oh, wow.
So I'm hoping for their response ASAP, and yeah, we'll take it from there.
I think we already know between myself and you that you're already in. We're just waiting for the confirmation to really declare that you're already within Witwatersrand University so that you get to pursue that dream of yours of becoming a doctor. But take me through in 30 seconds the PEG movement. You're also a member of that by your mentor, Bongane Putswano. Take me through that.
Wow. wow, PEC movement is a very exciting movement that I'm part of. Its main focus is training and developing young leaders, especially the youth, so that they can be so influential in society. It just prepares us for all aspects of life, whether it's religion or any challenges that we might face. It's a really exciting movement. It's going to impact nations. It's a big thing. I don't even know what to say about that. It's amazing. It's
certainly
amazing.
But I mean, I must agree with you on that. But really knowing the state of young people at this point, depression is a big one, anxiety is a big one. What do you say to those matriculants that unfortunately did not make it? We are celebrating and really honoring the likes of yourself that really pioneered throughout the year of 2022, really self-acclaimed the results that you received at the end of the year. But there are those that really also pushed hard but did not really get what they wanted. What do you say to them?
What I would say to them is that certainly it's not the end of the world. God has different plans for all of us. God has different plans. He has different destinations. And I say that they should not compare themselves to anybody. Just because you didn't matric, it does not mean that that's the end of your road. God has a different route for you, and that road might be even better than if you had passed matric. So I say that they should look at different options, and from there on, take it from there, and allow themselves to be led by God.
I think that is a big one and a beautiful sentiment. But was electricity, also taking a look at the factors of our social ills within South Africa, did electricity and water play a big role in the lockdown that you had as a matriculant in terms of probably the outages? There was no running water at times. Was that any kind of inconvenience for you?
Excuse me, can you just repeat the question, sir?
In terms of our social ills in South Africa, taking a look at electricity and water, did that in any way inconvenience you studying and really pioneering throughout your studies, studying at home and being at home during the lockdown?
Yes, certainly. I remember there was a period where load shedding was a thing in where I live right here. So I would make sure that by the time it really happened at night, so that was a big inconvenience. So I had to use candles and so on, and so it was a big struggle. It was challenging, but then that period, the season passed, fortunately for us, yes.
Well, thank you very much, Bafedile Maleka, for joining me right here on the Morning Express. It has been a delightful privilege to converse with you. An entire 6 distinctions in the bag and on your way to Witwatersrand University to actually pursue your dream of becoming a doctor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Quite a pleasure. Well, South African, everyone on the African continent, for Galaxy News from the Morning Express desk, I am Harmin MBELE. Good morning.